Hello folks, this is a brief explanation of a max patch that I've got running here, which is called GlickGlackGlock, because originally I started with a glockenspiel, and I started with a three-voice approach as well. I'm no longer running it as a three-voice, and I'm no longer using it as a glockenspiel. It's now a marimba, although you could potentially change it to anything you wanted down here. It's just a very simple MIDI, four-part MIDI random note generator based on a few scales. I'm currently locked, and if I go into presentation mode, you can see this is the presentation. All you need to do to start the experiment, or the composition, or the performance, whatever you want, is press that button, which we'll do in a minute. If we come out of presentation mode into patch mode, and we're still locked, so you can see here we've got different musical scales. You know, each a zero would be the root. The second would be the major second. The one would be the minor second. You know, they're notes of the chromatic scale. And you know, for instance, this is a whole tone scale because it's symmetrical: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Anyway, we've got a few different scales here. We've got it set to this one for the purpose of the demonstration, and then we've got a few randomizers going on. So as a single voice, it plays random notes from an 88-note keyboard set to a marimba, although the way note out works, if I wanted to change that to anything, if I had plugged a MIDI synth in, I could have it go out to another MIDI synth. I've actually got an Electron digitone here that when I do the final performance of this piece, I'm going to set it out to the digitone, where I won't have to play any of the notes, and I'll just be able to mess with the digitone's filters, which I could actually set up here as part of the Max experiment for sure, to have that automated as well. But all I wanted to do as part of this experiment was set up some random note events, which is what I've done. So we come down here, every 250 milliseconds this voice will play, and then here we have a random another random event called decide, where it'll basically put up a 0 or a 1. If it puts up a 0, it turns this voice off, this whole voice off, and if it puts up a 1, it turns it on. This is also triggered off the same switch up here, but it runs at 4 times the rate of the notes that are playing. So every 4 notes for this voice, another random event will happen where maybe this is turned off or maybe it's not. And then here I'm running a seed, so it essentially messes with the running order of that decide object. And then here we've got the same thing duplicated, but instead of a base of 250 milliseconds, we've got a base of 500 milliseconds. And then this is 4 times, so the voice mute modules, the little sub patch in a way, it's running at 4 times. So every 4 times this note fires, a dice roll, random dice roll is run on decide to see if it mutes or not. And then the same here, every 750 milliseconds for this voice, and then every 3 seconds there, and every second there, and every 4 seconds there. So that's basically what happens. Is you've got, the way I sort of thought about this, a little bit like SATB writing for 4 parts. You've got usually with a soprano, alto, tenor, bass part, you've usually got more movement at the top end and less movement at the bottom end. And so what I kind of did with mathematics here was to figure out a way of doing it. It is a fairly strict, structured way. This is not a finished max patch. It's just a sort of a proof of concept to begin with. We don't move the rhythmic information around it. It either plays a note or it doesn't. And these are all multiplications. So this is twice the time of this one. This is 3 times, and that's 4 times. So we get more articulation up here, more note events is probably a better term. Fewer, and then fewer again. So and then these choices down here happen at 4 times the rate of the voice, the number of notes that it plays. Anyway, that's a very long way of explaining what's going on. It's probably better if I just go into presentation mode and I click start, and you can hear it. So there we go. I'm pretty happy with this. It shows a good sort of proof of concept of how to work with random note events, and particularly once you start stacking up random note events, it can be pretty interesting. What I am going to do here is, in the next little bit, is I'm going to change the octave that these will work in. Although I had in mind that these would be soprano, alto, tenor, bass. Currently, they're all pitched at the same octave. So if I take that, leave that as plus 48, make that plus 36, make that plus 24, and make that plus 12, you will then effectively have four voices: soprano, alto, tenor, soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. Hope that's all clear. Thank you.